This
So
conference will now be recorded.
I think with Suchitra, had a discussion on last week. So Anil, can you please let me know what is your experience? What's your background?
Yeah, sure, Prem. I have 14 years experience and 12 years into SAP.
Hmm.
Worked on materials management, warehouse management, and Ariba modules, and have knowledge in PW. So that's all.
Okay, so you are an SAP consultant, but you're from the functional side, right?
Yeah, even actually, I have that question in my mind. Is this for technical people or for functional?
This is for both. Like the training will be done for both the function techno. It's a techno functional module. So it's
Yeah,
just
that's
like
what
how we have. Yeah.
the openings are also most of the time is coming for MDG technical.
Techno
So is it
functional,
useful
right?
for MDG technical? That means almost techno functional only. So
Yeah, so they ask
is
for techno functional role. So see, it's not that everything technical people do. It's the yeah, most of many openings are there for technical, but we do have opening for functional also.
mhm.
Okay, specific for functional role, because in a small project, yeah, it's fine. Like we get one consultant, but it's not difficult. It's not that every time you'll get same consultant to do both the role.
Okay, so you are going to cover more on technical
Both,
or
both, both.
okay.
It will be both techno functional with whatever will be there, will be covering. It will cover from both perspective.
Mhm.
So whatever is the functional that does, so at least the technical also what we are doing. So technical people also know what the what functional does, and functional knows what technical does.
So how much technical involvement is needed? Too much coding or some technical objects need to be uh, changed from a website? What is the scope of a web? Is it more in MDG?
Technical side, yes, technical the coding has to be done, but see the technical scope, you cannot directly say more. 40% is technical and 60% is functional, because process configuration and all this are all as a functional role,
Hmm.
and the coding part will be 40%.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we need prior ABAP experience, Prem, to go to this course?
Yes, if you are going as a technical, then yes, you'll need an ABAP experience. But if you are going for a functional, then you not need as a ABAP experience. So you're also you're technical or functional, Suchitra?
I am also functional consultant, Prem. I have no knowledge in ABAP actually, like
Okay, no
very
worries.
basic.
But still,
And
you do this task, right? You work as a MD, this all the tasks for, because functional role
like
comes in different way.
yes,
Yeah. So it's not every time technical people will do all the tasks. Technical people has a limited task, but functional people has more tasks, because interaction with the business and all, that is done by the functional.
yeah.
So okay, I'll share my screen and then I'll show you. So you all need this, right? So what you are looking in a demo, like what is your expectation? I hope you can see my screen. No.
You can explain in data model.
Okay. You
You can
want
introduction for MDG.
Anil, anything, any expectation from your side? what you're looking for?
No, Prem. Let's keep going. And you start the demo and let me see what is the take from
Okay,
it.
fine. So when we say MDG, okay, so MDG stands MDG whatever we do that we are going to govern, and what are we going to govern? That is master data. We are going to govern. So whenever it comes the concept as governance, the very first thing that we are going to govern here is all the master data. So which master data are we going to govern from MDG? So SAP has given us three data model. So three governance data model which MDG has given us, that is for MM, PP, and finance, that is 0G. So this data model are the one that SAP has given us, and we are going to govern these three data model. So what is data model? So the concept of data model is that, like, there is a common place, there is a global place, you can say, where all the fields or all the attributes and the table are maintained. Why is a governance place? Because if I'll give you every other place, like suppose in MM, as of now, if you go, or in BP, if you go, you'll see there are different places, different tables are maintained. Like for Mara, if you say there is one table called Mara, you will have Marcy, you have MAKT, you have MARD. So there are different places, and and the place from where we create this table is SE11 only. From MDG point of from technical point of view, I'm saying the place from where we have, this is a governance point. This is the place from where we maintain a table. Now, what happened? MDG uses the concept called staging and active. Okay. So what happened? Now, in normal SAP, when we create a data and we say save, as soon as we save, suppose if I go to MM01 and I say save, that is, as soon as I save, one material number will get generated, and that material number will be available in my Mara table. You agree on this point? This is the normal ERP process. Have you seen like this or no?
Yes. Yes, Prem.
Yeah.
Right, Anil? You have also, as a functional, you have seen like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was the normal ERP process. Now what happened? When we say govern, now what happened? The workflow is coming into the picture. So what MDG says, you will not get the data in Mara table till all governance process are completed. So what MDG says, that MDG, you will not get the data till all governance process are completed. So that in MDG it will have like this. So now, how whoever is going to validate the data, how he or she is going to view the data. So that means in order to view the data, the person or the data has to be stored somewhere temporarily. So temporarily, the data has to be stored somewhere, and so that the user or the approver can validate the data. and that place where the data are stored temporarily for the process for the so that approver or the requester can view the data till the time it is not finally approved. That place is called as a staging area. So here the table where the data will be getting stored temporarily, that place is called as a staging area. Now how the staging area will get built? So staging area. So where, how we say which is the staging area? So when you go to SE38, this is a T code that we use, and there is a program called USMD data model. And if you go and execute this based on data model, you'll have this staging table. So these are all the staging tables. These are all the staging table. These are dynamically generated. How it is getting dynamically generated? Whatever you do at MDG level, at a data model level, whether it's BP or OG, everything will all this table. This is a temporary table, or we can say as a staging table. This staging table will get generated, and all the data will be stored in this table during the time of processing. Once the processing is completed, your data will get moved from this table to your main table. So what is your main table? So your main table will be your Mara table, or the actual table where the data gets saved, where data is available for use.
So Prem, it is within single instance, right? So the system is actually the same system, right? Or we are going to have a separate system, and from that data will be moved to the satellite systems.
So that concept I'll come into the picture. As of now, it's the same system.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, in the same system, you'll have two tables. This is the same. This is the staging table, and in this only you'll have another table called Mara table. This is the Mara table. So in the same MDG only, you'll have both.
So
So that's
Mara
why, yeah.
Mara staging table is something different.
Yes, Mara staging table will be this table. So your staging table for Mara will be this table material. So whatever you'll
Mhm.
be having in Mara will be having in this staging table.
Okay, okay,
So this data will move from this table to that table once all the process is completed. Till the process is not completed, you will not be able to see your data in this table. You will be only able to see your data in this table. That's a staging table.
okay.
So in data model, what we do, we create all this process. So this all this activity, whichever the staging table, the relationships. So like suppose in Mara also, your data does not get saved like this. Uh, it has the relationships. It has the relationships like how, if I say Mara, then if it goes to Marcy, if it goes to MAKT, if it goes to Mart, so plant storage, sales of, so all these table are interlinked to one another. Then only your data gets saved. Because this when you go to MM01, you don't have only one table called Mara. You'll have multiple tables, right? Like suppose if I
Yeah.
am going, Suppose packaging. See, so this all are will have a different tables. Okay, you it will not have simple table. So this all, where does it get saved? Now see, this will have its own table, and then even I go to sales org will have its own table. So that's why this all linkage, it's all maintenance of this table, like similar to how your data is getting saved in your SAP. Similar to that, I need one place where I can maintain all this activity or perform all this activity globally. So that place where I can perform all the activity globally, that place is called as a data model. Okay, data model is a global place where you can perform all activity of your staging table, like creation of, in MDG we don't use table, we use entity, attribute, relationship, cardinality, and business object. Okay, so this all activity is a global place from where you can maintain all this activity that is required for your staging table data to be getting saved. Because as I said, your data, if the relationship is not correct, you may be able to save the data in MDG, but as soon as it goes to S4, that is your MDG, this your main table, then if the relationship is not correct, you will not be able to save the data in it. Data will not get saved in your respective active table. So we say as an active table. Okay, the data, if the relationship is not correct, suppose you have not filled in MDG, you have not given metnar as a mandatory field, or not, you are not filling the details of metnar, and as soon as you send the data trying to save the data in your active area, then you'll get an error. That means you have to create exact replica of your mm01 in MDG also, so that all the relationships, all the values are same to same, so that as soon as your process is complete, your data will get saved in your respective table of S4 system. Are you getting my point on this, or any confusion?
No, sorry, it's clear.
Yeah,
For
Prem,
me, it's
one
clear.
thing, the relation, do we need to create it, or SAP provides that relation? Because these are standard tables and fields, right? So why can't we have that relation upfront?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. So what happens when you're directly going to MDG? So the
Mm.
standard data model will have its own relationships. All the relationships will be created or will be available. Okay, but when you so in this we'll see more in detail going further. I'm just covering the overview. So when you go to data model, suppose this is an data model, and if you go to, so you see the relationships. If it is a standard one, automatically the relationships will be built. Okay, relationships will be available, but it's not that. uh, there will be the custom also. Like
Mm.
you might have seen the client, they require some custom fields also. Then that also relationships you have to do, because now that is also the part of right? Any
Mm.
enhancement or anything, that also has to be the part of only. So how are we
Yeah.
going to do that linkage? So that linkage has to be done, right? So that's why I'm
Yes.
talking about relationship.
So, Prem, one more thing. How the scope of these tables are decided, whether we are going to discuss that in the. Uh,
Yes, that discussion will be taken once we have a normal class. Like how
mm,
we decide which table will be the what type of table, what is the role that will be played by the respective relationship type.
mm,
If you see here, there are different relationships type. So what role is played by each this relationship type? Because as of now, you see somewhere it is given as a leading, somewhere as a qualifying, somewhere referencing. And if you go at entity type, even at when you are designing a table, that time also you'll see different way of creating the table. That is like someone you see not changeable, or you have see changeable via change request, without change request, not changeable via MDG, changeable via other change requests. So how this is getting determined? How are we going to determine which one I have to create, which entity I have to create, or during the requirement what I have to understand from the client, so that based on that I can ask my technical consultant to create like this table. So that all the decision has to be taken care of, all the process has to be decided.
okay. And can I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
See, actually, we are always talking about coming to MDG. We are always talking about material, business partner, vendor, and customer, right? So, in what are the? See, there are many materials, or not materials. So many master data objects available, especially info record and other stuff, right? So, do we have any provision for such master data also, or only
No,
takes care of materials?
only material MM01.
Okay, only material and vendor, and that is the only thing that MDG governs.
Yes, only material. Material means the creation of your master data, and if you
Mhm.
say the bomb and all that, also we are not governing in MDG.
We are not governing BOM.
Yeah, so
Okay,
bomb is also not available in MDG. Later on, it may come because this all are in process. So bomb, if you say bomb, or if you link to PS and in MRP. So these are all the if you may consider master data, but MDG SAP does it's SAP is not considering that as a master data. SAP, whatever you are doing in MM01, whatever activity you will be doing in MM01, that activity SAP, all this activity MDG, SAP is considering as your master data.
okay. So if I see material, business partner, and what else you said?
Finance,
That's it.
finance, yeah, three.
Finance. Okay, GL
Assist.
accounts, right? Okay, okay.
Yes, finance. So this OG
Oh,
is
okay,
finance.
OG. Okay. So only these three things that MDG
MDG
governs.
govern.
Okay.
So in finance also you'll have GL, you have cost center, you'll have profit center, you have company code. Okay, so this all cost center hierarchy, profit center hierarchy, GL account, GL assignment and cost element hierarchy. This all will be covered under the all things govern under finance. and BP only the creation and maintenance of your master data, creation of the BP data. BP that includes your customer as well as the supplier, and creation of material. So this all things are governed. And apart from this, there are two module that is also available. That is the newly created or newly built with help of Ethiopia. So SAP has outsourced to Ethiopia. Now Ethiopia is I think Prometheus. SAP to Ethiopia, and that module name is EAM, Enterprise Asset Management, and RFM, Retail Fashion Management. So anything related to enterprise asset management, I think they in this module you may get the BOM also going further. BOM and all can be done through EAM, and all the retail things like as IS retails or SAP retail, whichever the functionality that you have, that can be fulfilled using RFM, Retail Fashion and Management. So this is a two module that is that SAP provides you, but it is partnered with Ethiopia. So overall, you can say there are five data model that SAP is giving you for governance.
So Utopia is like a third party system. What exactly is that?
Outsource SAP, they want the SAP. They have built
Okay.
this data model by themselves, MMBP and OG, but
Hmm.
they want to have two new data model for which they have outsourced their work to Ethiopia. So Ethiopia is their implementing partner for EAM and your RFM. Like you have some work, like how our client does. They have some work they outsource to us, so we are their implementing
Hmm.
partner,
Yeah, yeah.
like this. Any question they will ask from the client. That is your client is SAP. So anything, any issues if you want, or you want to buy the license, you will be asking to SAP. They will be routing to Ethiopia. Or if for BP and OG, anything you'll ask to SAP, SAP internal team will take care of these issues. So in this way it works. So yeah, any questions as of now till now?
So Prem, I have a doubt. Like you said, all these staging tables and all. So
Hmm.
as a like I am a functional consultant now.
Hmm.
After this course, like what do I say? Like I am a techno functional or how it is? Still, I need to go to ABAP guy, right, to explain my requirement from the client.
Yeah, techno function. See, you will know where the technical does his or her work, where the technical will do his or her coding. This all. So you cannot say
Hmm.
techno functional unless and until you know technical things.
Okay.
Having the knowledge and having the knowledge where the technical team does or he will do the coding, that you can tell that yeah, I know the places where the technical teams does their coding, or particular validations, your particular enhancement, that you know. So I have the knowledge. You can say I have the knowledge on technical thing, but I cannot do the coding. So that till that time, you cannot say as I am a techno functional. You will be regarded as a functional consultant, but more than a functional. At least you know the technical point where the coding or where the things has been implemented.
Yeah.
Any other questions? So, so going forward, like once we started, then going forward we'll see this T code. That T code will be, so we are running, or we are doing the course from MDG. So the module name is MDG, and then implementation guide. So it will
Okay.
have MDG IMG, the T code where you're going to configure everything. So MDG IMG. So MDG IMG will have all this configuration, general setting. Will be looking this all these configurations, how to do, what to do. So a starting point will be data modeling, and ending point will be data transfer. And this all topic will be looking like data modeling, so how to create the tables, how to create an attributes, or how you can say, like in short, how to design your staging table. And for the front end we'll be using, like we'll seeing like how to create your user interface, how to design your UI. So all the UI are built in FPM, but this thing we don't have to do any coding. This is simple a configurations. So then this can, once I show you, then you can do independently at least the UI modeling with, as there is no coding involved. So this you can configure. And data quality and search will see the BRF plus configuration. So BRF plus is also simple. Directly the BRF plus will be seeing, and it's a configuration. So no coding is required. If we implement the body, then the coding is required. Otherwise, so they have given both the ways, by using the BRF plus and as well as the body. So based on that, if it is just a BRF plus, you can you can write your own. There's no logic, you can configure your BRF plus. But if it's a body, then technical consultant has to pitch in to configure, to do your task. We'll be configuring all the change requests. What are the different types of change requests or process, like maybe a create process, change process, whatever may be the process. That all the process will be configuring here in process modeling. By configuring the process, how your workflow or your change request will move from one person to another person. That means one label to another label. That also will be seeing in this process modeling. Once all this is configured, then last we'll see how the data is moved from, or if all the golden data, how that golden data will be moving into MDG. Or we'll see how the data in replication will be seeing how the data is moved from MDG to the other systems. So like when we implement MDG, we implement in two ways. One is called as a co-deployment, or another one is called as a hub deployment. So in co-deployment means you have your S4 system, you have your, by default you have your S4 system, and in S4 only you are implementing MDG. So that becomes your co-deployment mode. Whereas in hub deployment mode you have your MDG separate MDG server. So I'll once during our class I'll tell you what are the benefits or what are the pros and cons of implementing co-deployment or implementing hub deployment.
So when you say co-deployment, like in the same system, we'll have
MDG?
both S4 and MDG.
Yes.
With the same login, we can access both.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
So
just
in such
it's
cases, don't we
just
have
like
data issue?
no.
Sorry.
It's just like you have for one system, and in that you have installed your new package called MDG package. So your staging area, you'll now what happens? You'll have a different staging area and the active area. So that you don't have to do any replications. So when you have your data in the same system, you don't have to do any replications.
Yeah.
Whereas
No need of
when you,
DRF.
yeah, DRF. So when you have a different MDG server, then that time you have to do replications, because that time your data is available in MDG system. Hello?
Yep.
Okay. I thought my connection is got lost.
So at the end of the course, like, will you be providing any documentation or it's just the course? Like, whatever the
No.
daily classes?
All the documents will be provided based on the topic. All the document will be provided to you.
Okay. After completion of each topic, you'll be providing the documentation, or it's at the end of the course?
After each topic, after every topic, I'll be providing a document, so that you are familiar. You know that okay, this topic, this are the document which I have to refer for future.
Okay, like, okay.
Like suppose if I finish, like I finish this data modeling, then I'll be
Hmm.
providing a document on data modeling. If I finish UI modeling, I'll provide a document on UI modeling.
Okay.
And the recording also, I think you'll be getting a recording also. This one, I think I can
Yeah,
confirm.
so I will upload
So
it to Drive. Yeah.
yeah, so all the recordings and everything you'll be getting. Apart from that, the document I'll be providing from my end, all the document on the respective topics.
Fine, fine.
Yeah. Any other questions, Anil?
Uh, Prem, based on your experience, where the functional consultants are more involved, data modeling is one thing, and 60% you said, right? So, what are the activities actually
So see,
morely the
the
functional consultants are not?
yeah, the functional consultants, when there is a design, when there is a work called process designing, okay, the functional consultant gets involved of designing the process. What happened to this? So process, like if the client says I need a process, so business, I'm talking about the business process, okay. So the client will say that I need a business process. So like as of now in when you are doing in you go and design your process. You go for creation of a material. So during that process, as of now, you don't have the workflow. In normal SAP, you will not have the workflow. So that means you are not thinking of this design. Workflow design is obsolete, right? As of now, in the normal SAP term, or
Hmm.
do you have it? No, right? When you design
Sorry,
any
are you
material,
asking about my process?
yeah. Suppose when you create any material in any
Hmm.
normal process, normal
We
SAP,
don't have the workflow process.
yeah, so the workflow design is absolute. So you only think, okay, if I want to create a material, so what you'll ask to the client, that okay, I create a material, so what are the mandatory fields, what are the F4 value, what are the some any fields value, any default value. So you'll be asking that process, because that is the process that is available for you. But now as a functional consultant, you have to ask here, you'll be asking here, okay, what is the mandatory fields, what are the field property for your business, and how many process are you going to have. So there may be like create process, change process, mask process, delete process, upload process. So whatever the process may be, you have to ask these questions. So this is the functional consultant task, to and discuss the business process, like how many business process, and also to design the workflow, like as a normal ABAP work. Not you don't have to design the workflow in ABAP. You have to just define the flow diagram of workflow. So then this is the task that you have to do as a functional consultant.
And from
And
configuration point of view,
yes, And the configuration point of view, like whatever it's like, suppose if I need a new material type, then all that has to be configured from by you. But
Yeah,
here
material
also
type.
there,
So,
yeah,
okay, material type within MDG.
yes, yes.
Okay, so we are going
Material
to.
type, material type is not within MDG. Material type, if you are configuring. So here, what happens when we say MDG? So MDG will not configure its own normal on material type or on company code on plant. We use the configuration of all the configuration will be shared. Whatever the configuration will be configuration is done, that configuration will be shared to MDG by S4.
So we take the replica of S4 and configure the same in MDG.
Yes, you can configure the same in MDG or by using Solman. All the S4 configuration is moved to MDG.
Okay. So
So
there is
either
a
way.
system already in place, right, to copy the same into MDG.
Yeah, that's why I said that depends on the client.
Mm.
Some will ask you to reconfigure the same thing in MDG. Some will they will say that, okay, the Solman is available directly. All the configuration what you will do in S4 will be moved to MDG.
Yeah.
So that, or sometimes what happens, this role is played by two consultant, or sometimes this role is played by one consultant. So two consultant means S4 team will have its own consultant, MDG will have its own consultant. So whatever S4 has done, you have to do in MDG. That means two consultant. Or sometimes you'll be only the one who will be leading the S4 and MDG both. So you will be configuring in S4 as well as in MDG both. So it differs from client to client.
Okay.
So these all tasks are taken care by the functional consultant. Any new plant configurations or any storage area configuration, any sales area configurations or configuration. So this all configuration has to be done by the functional team, or you can say your MDG functional consultant.
So all those will be configured in S4 and then will be replicated, right? Our storage
Yeah,
location.
this is why I said we do in that way only. Like because some client they try to they will have a huge team, the big team. So they will say, okay, every person will have its all individual role. Like when we are in a CMM level 5 company, that time the client also big is a big client, and will have different consultant for different role. But when it is a small client, you will have a single consultant, and that single consultant will have to do the tasks in different client. In the same, they have to do the same task in both the client. Now, the configuration part, sometimes we replicate to MDG. That also depends on client to client by using the Solman or by using SLD or by using any method. They will move your task, the configuration to S4, or if it is not moved, then you individually you have to configure in MDG. Till the time it's not configured, the data will be you cannot use MDG. The name number range configurations, plant configurations, material type configuration. These are some of the mandatory that has to be configured. Does it answer your question?
No problem.
Any other questions?
No, no, no problem.
I am good.
Okay. So I think if you don't have any questions, I'll hand over to Sai. He can take care of the next any other points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
And Prem, the
fine.
classes